Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm LeetCoder. If you guys are new to my channel, I pretty much do LeetCode style questions and I explain things in the simplest way possible. Today we have a pretty interesting problem, guys, that I'm very excited about. So the problem is called reverse linked list, right? So let's go ahead and read the problem statement real quick. So it says, given the head of a singly linked list, right? Reverse the list and return the reverse list, right? So we're given this list, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And then we want to reverse it so it can look 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So if we want to reverse the length of all the nodes, right? So 1 points to 2, 2 points to 3, 3 points to 4, right? Initially, right? But now we want 1 to be the last element, so 1 will point to null, right? Because every node, like, in a list, linked list, right? If they're not pointing to a number, they're pointing to null. So the null signifies that's the end of the list, right? So now 2 is going to be pointing at 1 now instead of pointing at 3, right? It points to 1, right? So, and then 3 instead of pointing at 4 points to 2. 4 instead of pointing at 5 points to 3, right? As you guys can see, this is the thing that I'm saying, right? So you see 2 points to 1, 3 points to 2, right? As you guys can see, boom. 4 points to 3, right? So 5 points to, I'm saying, so you guys see what's going on, right? So as you guys can see, right, it's pretty easy. So pretty much, once we add a node, right, we just reverse the length by pointing to the previous node that came prior to us, right? And then it's reversed, right? So pretty simple. So let's just go through an example real quick. Then I'm pretty sure you guys will get it, right? So this is the same example as given, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 1 points to 2, 3 points to 3, right? All right. So now that we have that, guys, what I'm saying, so this is the output, right? So 5 points to 4, right? So the output of the reverse list, right? And this is I put equals to say that this is the same thing as this, right? Just formatted differently. I'm saying, so as you guys can see, right? 1 points to null, right? 2 points to 1, right? That's the output. That's the correct output, right? 4 points to 3, right? And then so we know that, right? So now, all right. So let's go. All right. So so we know how to loop through a linked list, right? So pretty much we'll do cur is going to occur that next at every node, right? Until we get null. So we know how to loop through a linked list. So we loop through, boom, 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 go null. We exit out the loop. Then, yeah, so pretty easy, right? So the way we're going to solve this question, guys, is every time we add a node, right, we're going to ask. So we're gonna be pointing our next pointer, right? Instead of pointing to the next element that we're currently pointing at, we're gonna say occur that next, right? Our node, next node should be pointing to the node that's before us, right? So yeah, so every node we're gonna do that. So 2 instead of pointing at 3, right, is gonna point to 1 because 1 is because when we're at 2, right, the previous node, the node that came prior to 2 is 1, right? So that's why we're gonna reverse the length every time, right? At every node. So the trick is, right, since in a linked list, once you move forward, guys, we can't go backward, right? It's a singly linked list, it's not a doubly linked list, which will be easier, I'm saying. But this is a singly linked list, so we can only go forward, guys. So I'm saying, so uh, the dilemma that we would go, right? So okay, let's say we go to 2, right? Once we're at 2, there's no way of us knowing. We don't have reference to the previous node anymore, so we lost reference to it, so we can't really reverse it. You know what I'm saying, what am I going to reverse it to? I'm saying there's no way of me knowing that. So to solve that problem, guys, we introduce this previous variable, right? The previous variable's job is gonna be to hold the reference of the current node's previous node, right? So that yeah, so that's why the previous variables are always going to be one step behind the current variable. I'm saying it's always going to be one step behind it. So now, guys, what I'm saying, so we're going to move forward, right, every time. So as we're moving forward, guys, what I'm saying, we're gonna do cur, right? So cur that next, instead of pointing to where we're pointing at initially, right, we're gonna say, all right, cool, I don't want to point there anymore. So now, guys, 1 is pointing at the previous variable now, right? I'm saying, all right. So now we just reverse the length, right? So easy. So we're gonna run into a problem, guys. What I'm saying, we lost reference to 2, right? We don't have access to the remaining of the list. There's still numbers to be reversed, right? So we would be in trouble. So to save ourselves from that problem, right, we're going to introduce this temporal verb, right? Because this next verb, so the next node, right, we didn't save it anywhere, so there's no way to advance forward. What I'm saying, because we just changed our current next node, right? It pointed to the previous variable. What I'm saying, so if we did clear that next, just go to on to next, it will go to null, right? It will go to this element because that's where we're pointing at now. So now we need to save the original next node, right? I'm saying that's why we're gonna save that in a temporal variable so that we can have access to that original next node, right? And then we could go to that element, because it was saved, right? So we just advance curve forward to go to that element. So we're gonna have this temporal variable, right? So this temporal variable is gonna help us in doing that. So now the temporal variable is there, right? So now we move that forward and the curve moves forward, right? So now we're at 2, right? Now once we're at 2, guys, we do the same thing, right? So now the previous variable is at 1 now, right? So because previous variable is 1 step behind, right? Remember I told you guys that, right? So the previous variable is 1 step behind. So once we're at 2, we're at 2, right? So now 2's previous node is 1, right? So now we're gonna do the same thing, guys. We're gonna change the length, right? So instead of pointing at 3, we're gonna point at 1 now. So yeah, guys, so we just reversed 2 to point to 1 now, right? So you guys are following that. So we still, the temporal variable was held the reference of the original next node, right? So we didn't lose reference to it. So we're still in good shape in the previous node, right? So everything advanced forward, right? So we did move this forward, we'll also move that forward, right? And we also move that forward, right? And then the previous variable gets updated as well, right? Moves forward again, right? Because I told you guys always 1 step behind the current variable. So we do the same process, guys. What I'm saying, once we had 3 now, right? We had 3. So now we're gonna I'm not gonna point to 4 anymore, right? I have reference to 4, so I could change my next node, my current next node now to point to the previous one. I'm saying easily. What I'm saying. All right, we just changed the length for 3. All right, and we also move the current variable forward by 1, right? So all right, so we move it 1. So now we also move the previous variable 1, right? So now, guys, we do the same process. What I'm saying. So now we're gonna change 4's point to the previous node. All right, so now we need so now we move everything forward, right? Let's move forward as well. Let's move forward as well, right? And then the previous variable also gets to move forward, right? And then now we do we're gonna do another one now. I'm saying, so now the previous variable's there, right? And then we also change the length. All right, so 5 now is pointing to 4 now. And then now the current variables are null, right? And then the previous variable also gets updated 1, right? So now the current variable is null, right? And then we exit out of the loop, right? And then we're in pretty good shape. So now we know that the previous variable now is at the head of the new reverse linked list. Magically, just like that, guys. What I'm saying. I hope you guys were able to understand this really quick walkthrough. And so now the algorithm, guys, is going to be a lot easier to implement, guys. What I'm saying. So now we know all the variables involved and the logic behind it and the reasons why we have those variables. So let's go ahead and implement what we set to accomplish, right? So now, guys, we're gonna have so we're gonna take a reference of the head, right? So now that we have reference, right? So I told you guys we're gonna need to introduce those kind of variables, right? So we're gonna need to have a previous variable, right? Which is gonna initially equal null, right? So now we're gonna have this while loop that's gonna be very beneficial to us, okay? So now while the current node is not null, right? While the current node is not null, so what we end up doing, right? We're gonna have this temporary variable, right? Like I said, which is TMP, right? We're gonna get the reference of the current node's next node, right? Because we're about to modify that to equal to point somewhere else, right? So we save that in a temporary variable, right? It's saved, and now I could easily change my next pointer, right, to point somewhere else, right? I still have the original next node stored in a temporary variable anyway, right? So now I could change my current next node, right? So now the current next, right, points to the previous node, right? And now we just reversed the thing, right? So now those other two lines, right, are just preparing ourselves for the next iteration, guys. You know what I'm saying? So now for the next iteration, right, the previous node is gonna be the current node that we're currently on, guys. You know what I'm saying? Right? And then now, guys, the next thing we need to move forward, right, to the original next node, right? So that's why we had the temporary variable, guys, stored, right? I'm saying, which ended up being very, helpful in helping us remember the original next node, right? Because we ended up overwriting it here, right? So now that's why we have to add. So I want to make sure you guys get that because it can be very tricky to get that at first, right? So now, guys, the next thing that we end up doing, right? We return the previous variable, right? Because I told you guys, you guys saw how the previous variable ended up being at the head of the new reverse linked list, right? So now let's check out if we pass the small test case. Nice. So let's see if we passed all the test cases, guys. Awesome, guys. We're able to pass all the test cases, guys. Now, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you guys found value in this video, make sure to like this video. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe because I'll be doing a lot of other videos just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.